To add a vignette in Photoshop, it's pretty easy, or at least in Camera Raw. Go to this Effects tab. So we're skipping a couple that we'll get back to in a second. Here you have a few different effects. The one we're looking at right now is post-crop vignetting. So if I slide this slider to the left, it becomes a dark vignette. To the right, it becomes a white vignette. And this is post-crop. What does that mean? It's applying the vignette to whatever you crop. So say we go back and we crop this as 8x10. We have this nice sort of frame. It's going to apply the vignette to this frame or this crop and not the original image. So this is the amount. Midpoint is the size. So you can make it smaller or bigger. Roundness makes it more circular or more oval or actually more rectangular. And feathering will blend it in more or make it more of a hard edge. So usually if you want a more subtle, natural looking vignette, you'll feather it out more and you won't even have that much of a vignette unless you want it extreme. Highlights will actually allow highlights in your image to shine through the vignette. This image doesn't have many highlights in the background, but if you were shooting a bright landscape or there were bright lights in the background up here, those would shine through the vignette more if this highlights option is up. While we're here, I'll just talk about grain. So grain is just another stylistic approach. Usually looks better for me anyways for black and white images. Let me just make this a black and white image really quick by dropping the saturation. When we used to shoot on black and white film, a lot of those photos have natural grain in them just because of the process and the type of film with different ISOs. And you can change the size of the grain to be bigger or smaller. You can make it rougher or more unique or blended in. So this is more of a stylistic thing, but if you're going for that sort of old-timey sort of classic feel, adding grain is one option. The last effect up here is dehaze. So let me click OK. And let's go to one of our photos that will look better for dehaze. Let's open up Photoshop 5 file in Photoshop, and I'll show you what dehaze does. There's not a lot of haze in this image, but if you were shooting out on a landscape and there's a lot of clouds or a lot of smog or haze, increasing the haze will basically do what a polarizing filter does by decreasing reflections in the sky and decreasing that sort of fuzziness, and it will bring out more saturation and color. Dragging to the left will actually add haze, which I don't really know why you would want to do that unless it's a stylistic approach, but by dragging to the right, you can see that the sky, there's a little bit of haze. It makes things more detailed and more colorful. Be careful about using this on things like portraits and things because adding this filter can make faces and people more contrasty and looking basically unnatural. But this is a cool, quick effect. If you are doing landscape and you want things to pop out a little bit more, just slide up that dehaze slider just a bit. Cool, so these are the effects I wanted to show you in Camera Raw. In the next lesson, I'll show you how to save photos from Camera Raw, and then we'll move on to some more advanced features.